Welcome to the Panel Show's Down the Track program. We're coming to you from the Yatura Hotel just around the corner from Sydney Dragway, the morning after the Gulf Western Oil's Nitro Thunder. And what an event that was. Huge crowds packed in there, and the feature of the deal was Top Fuel, and the story of the night ended up Kelly Betts. She's our guest here today. With me is Jared McLean across from Perth. And Kelly, I mean, this dream continues, doesn't it?
Certainly does. It's pretty unreal feeling. It's funny, coming into the event, I was like, we're going 3 in a row. Like, sometimes you just have that feeling, but the teams, everyone's coming together and the car's doing it, it's responding to the changes that Aaron's making to it, and it's all going really good.
It was another spectacular performance from Top Fuel as a category, but unfortunately a low light as well. We were to have our guest Peter Zuberis on the show again today. He was on our preview show, but unfortunately the track conditions were very tricky and Peter had what you'd call a very serious mishap. Let's have a look at that on screen.
Now, Kelly, we saw what happened with Peter Zuberis just then. You had a front row seat as such. You were in the next match, in the next pairing, in the lanes behind him, seeing it all unfold. What kind of psychological pressure does that sort of play out on you while you're strapped in? Because this is not a Sunday drive.
No. Look, every time you go to the line, something like that's possible. And if you dwell on that, you'll never go well. Like, you can't let that stuff get too in your head. You've got all your safety in place, and you've just got to have confidence in the fact that you can feel safe in the cars even if something like that does happen. Look, we can get hurt, and that's a fact of what we do, but seeing that happen in front of you, it's never a nice thing. Obviously we all got out of the cars and I went out and had a look at I wanted to know exactly what happened, what started it, what then potentially caused it, and then what happened from there, because I'm still learning in these cars and wanting to have a good understanding why it happened, so then make my decision-making process in my race, that's going to happen straight after it will slightly differ, because you've seen that happen on the track, so you need to make an assessment yourself in what you're going to do.
Well, the good news is Peter Zuberis was able to get out of the car under his own steam. He was taken off to hospital for complete checkovers and has had a series of x-rays, etc. And the word we hear is that he's shaken but not stirred, so to speak. He's fine, but it's for the championship chase. It was a 3-way title battle. That's taken a little edge off it with Peter, missing the rest of that round, and we don't know what will happen for the Winter Nationals.
I'd rather him be there. I'd rather it was 3 of us going into battle at the Winters. It obviously makes us all feel a little bit sick of what happened, and it's just a super shame. They're all great guys on that team, but you've just got to keep moving forward, and now I suppose it's me and Damo battling it out, and I haven't seen then the structure of who's after that, but it's all going to come down to the Winters again, so we just keep moving forward. It's a real shame that Pete won't be there, but I'm sure they'll be there watching.
Well, Peter's still within a mathematical reach. If you had a weekend like Damo had this weekend, I mean, Peter could be right there. And they do have a spare chassis, so we've had no word from the Premier team yet on what their plans are, and of course it's probably a little bit too early for that.
Probably, yeah, a bit early at this stage. It would be great to see them come back. I'd love to see them there, but...
The racing on the weekend though, let's go back and concentrate on that. Described as a Jekyll and Hyde racetrack at times, but
It's tricky.
coming into round one, you know, the test days were round one of the multi-round system. You go out and laid down, was that a personal best for you?
We did the 383 at the Summer Thunder in the final, so I just don't know the thousands figure to know if that was actually, I haven't looked at that yet, but I mean the fact that we finally got back down there from what we did at that event, and now the 383, and then obviously in the testing run we did the 84. And I was actually asking the question, does that make for the record? But I don't know because it was in testing, but you know, obviously we backed it up, but I don't know if that actually sets the official record, but yeah.
Well, let's have a look at what could be a new national record setting run.
Well, Kelly, I mean, it's clear to say that you not only had some great performance locked up in the car, but your driving ability this weekend was well and truly on show. It doesn't do well to directly compare yourself to the others in the field because you are your own driver, but you must feel so satisfied with how that all went this weekend.
Yeah, I try to take in as much information as I can from other drivers, and you know, obviously Aaron and Phil, and we talk a lot about different things with pedalling, and pedalling is as important to know what to do with it as to what just any part of the driving, because you are going to have to pedal at some point. So, and look, I'm always watching the NHRA. You're always just watching everything to see what people do and see how they manage the situation, and then you can just start to work that out in your own head. And then, yeah, I think from some great advice that I've got just over this short amount of time, I was able to pedal it down pretty good, I think.
Yeah, you have
nice
to
and
look
safely at least.
You have to look at that performance, Rob, I guess, in the final to take the win. We're talking about pedaling. It doesn't come much cleaner than that, does it?
Well, I mean, races are won a couple of ways. One is by a crew chief putting in the combination that says killer and it goes down the centre. And on those runs, it is probably safe to say that just about anyone could drive the car. I could probably drive the car when everything goes perfect. Yeah. But when things don't go quite right, we've now seen 2 events in a row where it's safe to say that you won that race, not Aaron Hambridge, the crew chief. I mean, the pedalling job in that final in particular, up against Rochelle Splatt, the first ever all-female top fuel final in Australia. Did that feel good going into the final?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, we're all a bit concerned with the conditions, how cold it was and stuff like that. We knew it was going to be that kind of race. It's hard to get the cars to hook up properly, but it was still exciting coming into it, knowing that we were in the final together, and it was making history, and so yeah, it was good, really good.
Okay, all-female final, Kelly Betts versus Rochelle Splatt, and it kind of went down like this. We're going to have a look at it, then we're going to come back and talk to you about what was going on. Just take a look. Well, I mean, we've talked about Pedal Fest before, this and that, but calling the race, you left, you went up in tyre smoke, and I saw Rochelle motoring away for a while, and I thought, oh, what was in your mind right then?
Well, it actually, went into pretty bad tyre shake. So it sort of came out for a bit, and then it started to feel it to shake, and you give it a little bit of a shot to drive through it, but no, it got pretty bad. So then lift, you got to have patience. The thing I've learnt is with pedaling and all this sort of stuff is you do, to a certain degree, you got to have patience. You got to let that car settle, and then as soon as you feel it, sort of rest back straight, then you just give it the couple of little goes sort of thing to get the car moving again, and then that's when you can hook into it again. So essentially it come into the shake, let the car settle, give it a couple of little testers like on the throttle, and then try and get it motoring on again. So while you might see the other car going up on you or whatever, you've just got to concentrate on what you're doing and get that car out there, because if you just have patience with it, yeah, you can get it going again.
But were you aware of how far in front of you she was at that point?
No, I just saw her, like, the car there, but I was more focused on what I was doing, to be honest with you. Like, it was during the shake and stuff, vision obviously got pretty, not that good when you're in shake, and then I'm concentrating on my car and just getting it down the track. If you'd get too caught up thinking, in your peripherals you see the other cars and what they're doing, but you've just got to focus on what you're doing and get your job done.
Now, you did get back in it. It was still pretty loose. That must have been a pretty wild sleigh ride down to that 1,000-foot mark.
I just was giving it, I'll say I was just giving it some good encouragement on the way down just to keep it moving. And I was, hoping that she hadn't hooked back up, to a certain extent. So, it's pretty gnarly.
Well, Kelly, I guess we now have to look forward to the next event, the Gulf Western Oils Winter Nationals, happening at Willowbank Raceway.
Yep.
Surely you've got to feel incredible going into that with 3 out of 3 on the trot event wins. What do you do to try and keep that momentum going within yourself as a driver?
Oh, we just keep the same. I mean, it's great, the 3 wins, and it's a great achievement, but at the end of the day, we just want to keep winning, and the championship is in our heads, and this is just the road to get there, and it's the path we had to take, and we'll just keep taking that path. So we keep focused on the end goal, and
You've had some great times at Willowbank Raceway outside of the Top Fuel dragster with the Lamatinas, and I think we have to draw on those comparisons with your driving style and across the variety of categories. We've seen you take out finals and championships in junior dragster, and then you've stepped up to that absolutely incredible little Datsun. I think that personally for me really cemented the fact that, righto, this girl can drive, because I've seen that thing get way out of shape, and you've put down some fantastic drive jobs in that.
That car's taught me a lot about driving. I mean, you go from just the modified dragster, which, you have your moments in them, but it's not something that's, really crazy and stuff, because they shouldn't be. They should just be a straight down consistent thing. So the ute has taught me a lot, and that gives you, both the ute and the Top Fuel car give me a lot of confidence in each car. Like, I get back in the ute now, and I'm a fair bit more ahead of it. When we talk about reacting to what the cars are doing and stuff, you say you're either behind that or you're ahead, you're onto it. And we find now in that I'm a bit more ahead in that car, because obviously the pace of the fuel car and my, learning with that has, So, but then the ute has taught me so much about the pedalling side and just confidence in general for the Top Fuel car. So they really work well together, to be honest.
Kelly, when you embarked on this Top Fuel journey, I think you're in the car, Darwin went, that was fine, that was great, fantastic performance, and then we get into championship proper. You were still pinching yourself going, is this really real? Yeah. At that stage, did you feel part of that Top Fuel world?
Yeah, I felt like the new person in there, but for me, I was like, I've been given this opportunity, and now I'm going to give it everything I've got. It was kind of like really strange to be in the Top Fuel and going for the championship. Like, to start with, like, I would just sit in the car in the burnout pad, sitting there, and I'm just like, I'm sitting here in a Top Fuel car at a championship round. Like, this is nuts. So, and now here we are a bit further on.
But what about now? I was watching you across the weekend with, there's corporate duties, there's the fans, and particularly the young fans, and the number of young girls that just kind of flock to your pit area. And you just seem like a veteran that's been around it for 10 years. You've adapted pretty quick. Do you feel part of the club now? I
do feel part of the club now. It's fairly determined now to achieve what we want to and stuff like that. So. Determination is driving me a fair bit right now, and driving everybody on the team. But it's, I have been that girl, and I still think of myself as a Group 3 racer. So, when I see the young girls from juniors coming up and they're saying hello to me at the pit and stuff like that, I just think that's unreal, because I've been there and I've been that person, and to have someone from a category that is Top Fuel to actually respond to you and welcome you in and all that sort of stuff, it just all it does is gives more encouragement to the girls, and it's a nice way to be, you know.
Looking forward, the Golf Western Royals Winter Nationals, 33-point lead now going into that event. That's a round of racing buffer, but it's not comfortable yet, is it?
It's yeah, it'll all be, like we keep saying, it'll be decided at the winters. Like, yes, we've now got ahead and we've got that one round room, but it's not a comfortable lead by any means. So, you know, it's eliminations again at the Winter Nationals. Anything can happen round one, and then it's all taken away from you. So I think we take pride in the fact of what we've got to as well, what we've achieved this season just as it is. And yeah, we'll be disappointed if we don't get it, but we can't get too caught up in, you know, the disappointment when we see what we've achieved this season. So,
Well, I mean, good luck at the Winter Nationals. The panel show is going to be there, keeping an eye on all of the action. We'll be talking to you again then, obviously. And we really hope that Peter Gibberis and the Premier Hire team are back in action at that one. It's a fervent wish of all of us, I think. So, thanks for joining us again on the panel shows down the track. And as I say, we'll be back with you with Top Fuel from the Winter Nationals.